conversation. It's like,
no fans. Here we go. He's whining already. He's the show just started and he's whining. I don't get it. It's a holiday season. It's a holiday season. This guy, a little trip to Canada, didn't calm him down. He comes on the show whining as soon as before the show could start. He's whining about some traveling, palming not being in the same category. We'll get to it. We'll get to it, fans. Anyway, we want to welcome you guys to 217 weeks of this iteration of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Fans, we want to thank you guys for tuning in all these many weeks. This is what's that? What's 217 divided by 52, Cleveland? That's 2+ years we've been doing this on this platform.
For sure.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this show.
Yeah, maybe even 4, a little more close to 4.
Thank you guys for being a part of the show, participating with us. You can always hit the show up on our Twitter account @_Voice of the Fans, @_Voice of the Fans. We need you guys to be mediators sometimes. And when I'm trying to correct Cleveland and he wants to be so stubborn and pig-headed, like when I said earlier in the season, I had the Giants at number 5, he called me a buffoon, flat out called me a buffoon. And that type of response, fans, I need you guys to put Cleveland in his place because he clearly doesn't listen to the knowledge I give him each and every week. Mm-hmm. So I need mediators, fans. I need you guys to be mediators.
And fans, I need you to chime in and ask, is the Giants in his top 5 right now?
Okay, well, again, we were talking about week 4 is what I was talking about specifically. If you want to ask about,
I was prognosticating a little bit too far out into the future. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, understand.
No, well, again, the each week we give our supremacy rankings, and as you know, it's as things stand currently. It's not looking to the future. It's not what we suspect will happen. It's as things stand currently, and for whatever reason, I try to tell you as things stood.
Reason, I didn't believe in the Giants at the time, and wow, now that we're in week 13, wow, wonder why.
I mean, are they in the top 10? They're in the top 10. Are they top 5? No. But again, fans, I was called a buffoon when I stated that comment. And then wouldn't you know? It was like 2 weeks later they were in his top 5. And 2 weeks after that they were in his top 5. And again, I don't know if he just got magically brilliant over those couple weeks of reviewing the show and taking down some notes. I don't know what happened there in that 2-week time span, but they became suddenly on his type of list. And that's the kind of stuff, fans, we need you guys to mediate and then hit them over the head with some logic because it doesn't work when I do it all the time. So I'm reaching out to you fans, sports fans of the world, of the galaxy, all those watching the show. I need you guys to chime in on these comments that this guy makes during the show. You can do that at @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter, @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter. Be sure to hit us up. Each and every week we start our show, Cleveland, with the numbers game. And with it being November 30th, 2022, week 217 of the show, the number 30. Now, I know the number 30 is sentimental, holds a special value in your heart. So we're going to see if we can get somebody who's donned number 30 to talk to you a little bit, fans. But go ahead, Cleveland. You let the people know when you think of number 30.
The first person that comes to mind is Terrell Davis, just because of the controversy that we've had on this show back and forth. Who wore it the best? Steph Curry. Still wearing it, actually.
Steph Curry.
Tell me last 3 years, Zeke has been paid.
Steph Curry.
Accomplishment. Can you talk about that? Let the people know that I'm Voice of the Fans, Cameron Buford, and that's the kind of story that about the adversity.
I'm sorry, fans. I'm trying to get this up that I should have had this ready for you guys, but
2000, and I was rooting for you.
Yeah, right.
Cleveland, we got somebody want to talk to you for a minute.
Okay.
We got somebody We got somebody who wants to get on the mic with you for just one moment because he got a message, and I don't think the fans are privy of, but they about to be familiar with this here shortly. Here we go, fans. This is for you guys.
How did I feel?
Hey, it's what it wasn't the goal, to be honest with you. The goal was to just be the best back I can be and help our team win a championship. And that's real. Every game was trying to go out there and do the best I could. And in doing that, a lot of times when you just focus on your job and task at hand, there's something happening.
Things happen.
And that was happening. And so when I got a chance to finally see it and break it, it kind of was like, whoa, like it's here.
That was big.
Now we gotta go get it.
That was big. What do you say to the people who say Denver was a system catered to running backs?
Yeah.
What do you say to those guys?
I mean, it don't really matter what I said. I mean, if people they just look at don't just hear it. Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system or did I have something to do about it?
Oh man, he was talking to somebody, Cleavon. He was talking to somebody. In the first part, you got a great message from him. You got a great message from Mr. Terrell Davis talking about just put in the work, a little bit at a time. And all of a sudden, he was talking about his path to breaking 2,000 against the Seattle Seahawks, I might add. But he was talking about how he accomplished that path, and it really wasn't the goal. He just kept putting in the hard work, putting in the work. And then all of a sudden, it was right there. And then he answered my question about somebody who specifically called the man a NFL Hall of Famer, called him a system running back. And I think you saw he was kind of chopped up about it. He was kind of choked up on it. He couldn't really get it out. He couldn't believe the question I was asking him. He couldn't believe it. And I think we have this again.
I mean, it don't really matter what I said. I mean, people, they just look at, don't just hear it. Go watch the tape.
Go watch the tape is what the man said. Cleveland, he said, go watch the tape. And we all know who we was talking to. He was on. Thank you, Terrell. Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate your time, big dog. Thanks for coming on the show. He was talking to you. Did you hear the message he said? Go watch the tape.
Kim, he was not talking to me. He was unfortunately an innocent bystander to lazy journalism. What I said was,
here we
Mike
go.
Shanahan.
Now it's lazy journalism.
What I said was because you're putting words in his ear that you're trying to say are from my mouth. I never
That's
said
exactly
that.
what you said. You called the man a system quarterback, or a system running back.
I did not.
Well,
what I said was
he was the beneficiary of a system, is what you said.
What I said was Mike Shanahan always tries to act like it's his system and not the running back that gets the productivity, meaning that he can just plug anyone into that running back position behind his grandiose offensive scheme and have success. And that's not true. It's always the talent. That's why Terrell Davis and Clinton Portis succeed in his offense better than the rest of those guys that he tried to throw in there.
Okay, I'm glad you added that last point, fans. We got off a little.
The argument was always whether Terrell Davis's numbers equated to Hall of Fame, and we can always have that argument.
I mean, you clearly going to lose that one. I predicted that 2 years before it happened.
Sure did.
Before he was introduced, I told you that was going to happen. I told you that. I don't even know how that was a discussion. I don't even know how you open your mouth to say Mr.
Because we have a discussion
was not a Hall of Famer. I don't know the guy who leads rushing the NFL in rushing for 2 consecutive seasons, and those teams happen to win a Super Bowl those 2 particular seasons. How he's not a Hall of Famer? Like, what are you talking about? You almost got kicked off the show for that.
He's
you almost got
lightning in
kicked
a
off the show.
bottle, and those 2 seasons were extraordinary.
You almost got kicked off the show for that. Because how is he not a Hall of Famer?
Lightning in a bottle, those 2 seasons were extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing the gold jacket. He's got a bust in Canton. So, yeah, it's time to move on.
Well, again, his message to you is go watch the tape. Anybody who thinks like Cleveland.
Watch the tape. Watch tape many times.
And, he finished again. He finished at 2,000 on the Seahawks. So, number 17, when you think another 17, Cleveland, as you try to get back on track, when you think of that number, who do you think of your fellow UW alum, Chris Chandler?
You know what comes to mind first, because I was watching that 30 for 30 about the Mets, the 86 Mets. Keith Hernandez. Yeah, he was a beast, man. So he kind of comes to mind first just because I was watching that. But who wore it the best? I'm gonna have to say Doug Williams just because of what he was able to pioneer into the NFL at present. So you see his influence and exposure all over the place, and the fact that he was able to kind of go through those things as a pioneer and a trailblazer, and then get the ring. He probably wore it the best.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. He did wear it the best, Cleveland. Now, when we get back to the NFL conversation, the NFL topics, man, there was another big weekend in the NFL. We had the host of Thanksgiving football. We had the Sunday night football as well, and then the Monday night topped it off for us. Well, that was kind of a game compared to what we saw the previous day. But what caught your eye over the weekend, Cleveland?
What caught my eye is the way the Cowboys were able to handle business.
Yeah,
pretty easily, and
right. Yes,
the way Minnesota was able to bounce back from their previous loss to who you consider the best coach in the business, and take advantage of that.
So Minnesota, I mean, come on. How they beating the Patriots, you didn't expect that. You didn't call that. You called the Patriots. Now you're trying to take credit for.
Yeah, I listened to you too much, Cam. And I thought that the coaching would overwhelm, Kirk Cousins and the way they looked the week before, against the Cowboys. Like, wow, maybe they're just heading into a spiral, and Coach Belichick is going to be able to take advantage of that. He clearly was not.
They're a little undermanned. The Patriots are. They're playing still good football. Tough.
Okay, I know you always make excuses.
They're in a tough division.
No matter what's going on, you make excuses for Bill. You're always on Bill's side, and that's key.
They're in a tough division, man. They're in a really tough
division.
Sweet
and adorable. The affinity and affection you have for Belichick, no matter what happens.
They're in a tough position, man. So
okay.
They come out of their division to face.
We'll see if they make the playoffs. We'll see. Coaching should prevail. He's in a position to get there. We'll see.
Well, no, there's a couple teams ahead of him right now. That's
okay. Wow. So not so much the coaching anymore.
I mean, again, are
those other coaches that are in front of him better than Bill Belichick? So he should be able to outcoach him down the stretch, right?
He can outcoach.
Coaching matters just that much.
When you're undermanned, when you don't have the talent.
Yes. How was I able to pull that out of you? Oh my God. When you don't have the talent to implement your situation and your system, you're just not the same team.
Moving right along. We're moving right along, fans. Something that caught my eye. And okay, so we talked about the chicken and egg last week, and we always go in our conversation, always come back to talent versus coaching. So good, touche, good one by you. What is the problem in Baltimore? So they have talent in your NFL MVP quarterback, right? They have coaching in Harbaugh, who I would consider he's a top 5. It has to be in top 5 coaches in the NFL today. You have coaching, you have talent. What's going on in Baltimore?
They don't take the situation seriously enough. They're always, Back to Giannis, always playing with their food, man.
I don't think exactly.
They have teams dead to rights. It's just this slow stroll to the end of the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden, like, two incredible plays happen, and all of a sudden, the dynamic of the game changes, and they're forced to make plays, and they're incapable of doing that.
Is it coaching again? When it comes down to that critical moment, is it coaching? Because they've given up double-digit leads. I think.
I guess you could say it's coaching from the perspective that they just don't understand what's going on and don't take the situation seriously enough. I mean, as we continue to go through this NFL part, we'll eventually get to the Miami Dolphin game, and we'll have a similar conversation.
Again, so if you want to blame them for not running the ball, not calling effective plays, not controlling the clock as you should, okay, we'll blame Harbaugh for some of that. But then doesn't the quarterback have to, in critical moments, like it's third and 7, like, we need you to complete a pass other than to your tight end, to one of the receivers that's been on your team for, I mean, there's been an influx of receivers on there, so he's never really had cohesion with one particular guy other than the tight end, but we need you to complete a 3rd and 7 pass to move the team. Like, and they're not able to do that. Or they have 1st and 10 on the opponent's 40 and end up punting the ball after going, 3 and out. Like, they're so perplexing, the Baltimore Ravens are. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. I like the mentality of the team as a whole. But something ain't right in the soup, man. Something ain't right in the soup, and I don't get it. I'm clueless. Well, if they had my man, how am I having a brain fart? Mr. 2000, who ran for 2000 for them?
Jamal Lewis.
If they had Jamal Lewis, I think that would fix a lot of ills. I certainly do. And their running back by committee, Dobbins haven't been what they expected him to be. They haven't been able to find, dare I say, a replacement for Ray Rice. That would be something I think that could settle the team down. Outside of that, man, I don't get it. What's your thoughts on the Ravens? You just say they play.
Well, Cam, they even brought in Deshaun Jackson, man, to try and give them some type of offensive, threat and, viability down the field. It just maybe that's why, Lamar doesn't have that $230 million guaranteed dollars in his bank account. And we're down here in week 12, and you're still losing games like this to inferior opponents. And then you want me to just cash in you, and you like you're saying, 3rd and 6. I need you to be able to step back, drop back, read the defense, go through your progressions, and hit someone in stride.
And we're in year 6 now. Are we in year 6 now? I said weeks ago, and was lambasted for even having the gall to say that I saw some regression a few weeks ago. But I'm telling you, I haven't seen a lot of growth. To be honest with you, from our MVP quarterback, and they're just so confusing. They're just so confusing. Again, it's nothing. If you know me, I love the mindset. I love the focus, the way they play football. I'm intrigued by it. Run the ball, stop the run, nothing fancy. Let's just get out there and do it. So in 6 years now, Lamar Jackson's in the 6th year. I would expected that on that 3rd and 7, now we need to make that play. We need this out of you, big dog. This is not year 2, year 3, where you're still learning the scheme, learning the offense. The offense is built around you. So that's a very concerning situation for me. They mess around and lose to the Jaguars this weekend. So They are now, what's their record? They're now 7-4. After that loss to the Jaguars, that Cleveland called. Cleveland, what made you call that game?
The Jaguars had the bye, and I didn't trust Lamar Jackson in that type of environment. Like it's always cool when you're supposed to win, and they were supposed to win this game. They were favored, but
yeah, they were
again,
favored.
I just thought the 2 weeks, the opportunity for Trevor and the coaches kind of step back and kind of implement some things. We'll see where it goes from here. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, Baltimore will always give you an opportunity to get back in the game.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, I just don't understand it. They played good defense, not good, not great defense. I guess they just can't run the ball. That's what it comes down to. They can't run the ball because Edwards isn't the bell cow. And that's probably their problem. And I think they run Jackson too often or not. I don't know. Do you run him too often or not enough? What is it?
Oh, you don't run him. You don't run him too off. I mean, I think they have a pretty good balance of how they run him. I think again in his MVP season, it was just almost Michael Vick like. So that's always your best play, right? And unfortunately, even in his 6th year, that's still their best plays for Lamar Jackson to just take the handoff, and then where he sees an opening, just run to it, and that's not sustainable, right?
So do you ultimately trust these guys coming down the stretch of the NFL season? Do you trust them to get into the playoffs? They're 7-4 right now. The only way they get in is if they win their division. They have to win their division to get in, because the Bengals, who also let their food a little bit, are now 7-4. Excuse me, they're 6-5. So they got an advantage.
No. The Bengals are better than that. Are you sure?
Huh?
You got the Bengals at what?
The Bengals are 6-5 after the loss to the Titans. The Titans
they beat the Titans. What are you talking about?
What?
Let me hold on.
I think I got the Titans.
Fans, excuse me. Let me jump on here real quick. See what Cam is talking about. Yeah, I got 7-4 Cam for the Bengals. Tied for the division lead, actually.
Yeah, again.
And they did beat the Tennessee Titans last Sunday, if you weren't watching.
Yeah, I wasn't watching that game, actually.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, they beat them.
So yeah, they're tied with they're tied with the Bengals or Ravens, tied with the Bengals for that division lead. So I mean, their only way I think they get in is if they win that division. And that was back to my original question I asked you, Cleveland, before I got derailed. Do you have confidence in Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to win that division?
Confidence, no. Wouldn't be surprised if they did, because they're capable of a great many things. It's a matter of if they can bring it all together at the same time and finish a game, finish multiple games, which is what it will take for them to make the playoffs. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to win their division to win the thing, and right now I don't have the confidence in them winning the division. I think we're hoping that the Bengals get healthy, healthy enough to be the best they can be. I'm not a Bengals fan, but by no means I actually like the way the Ravens play better. I do like Joe Burrow as a quarterback better. Mm-hmm. But I just, I like to see the team play at full strength, and at full strength, can they stay healthy enough to get their team to the playoffs? That's what I want to see. I want to see the team play at full strength. So with that, that was something that caught my eye. The Chargers going for 2 against the Cardinals. What do you think about Staley and having the confidence to go with Herbert to win the game, going for 2 against the Cardinals?
I thought it was a gutsy call. I thought he was putting his head coaching career on the line, to be quite honest.
Head coaching career on the line. He said, yeah. Woo, you guys, we're gonna have to get Tyler back on the show, because you guys is ready to cut man's custom.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler likes me too much. I think he's got the boat glass is out a little too tight, and
no, he doesn't actually. He called. I'm telling you, he called for his head at the beginning of the season, and so he said that early on that Staley, this might be his last season as a Chargers head coach, especially if they don't make the playoffs. And I disagreed with him.
No. Let's bring all that to a closure here. Staley's seat is permanently hot for the rest of the season, and if they don't make the playoffs, he will not retain his job as the head coach.
Whoa. Why? Okay. What makes you say that?
Because Sean Payton is lurking in the waters, just waiting to prance on any team that is willing to take his resume into consideration and a thunderbolt quarterback that he can mold into his own image.
I thought you got Sean Payton going to Dallas, taking over, working with Jerry.
Right. I did. But that's until McCarthy didn't fail and Micah Parsons stepped up as a defensive player of the year and all of these other factors came into consideration. That job is no longer vacant or open or an opportunity. Those guys are going to make the playoffs. So, yeah, you don't just fire the coach that made the playoffs and go, oh, yeah, Sean Payton's my guy. That's just too difficult to do.
I mean, we've seen it before, but wow.
As opposed to you don't make the playoffs and you've been talking about changing this culture and you make a lot of questionable decisions and then it comes back to bite you in the ass. However, he did go for 2 when it was like, now or never, do or die, and they showed up and made the play. 2
So they're above 500 and you got the guy in the hot seat.
Hot seat for the rest of the season.
They're 6-5.
He is.
They really can't lose a game. I mean,
he is Mr. Jiffy Pot, man.
Ooh.
He's Mr. Move it around.
He can't stay in one. He got to keep moving.
Keep moving.
What Eddie Murphy say? I was in San Francisco and he got to keep moving. He don't know that. He got to keep moving.
Yeah. Got to keep moving, man.
Oh boy, that's cold. I don't see it, man. I don't
see
it.
You didn't have any more like, oh, why do you make that call? That's weird. Oh, okay. Yeah. Those are all gone. You have to make the playoffs.
He has to make the playoffs or he's done?
Yes.
I think that's a bit hostile. I think that's a bit hasty, I should say.
But I just said why. You're looking at the landscape, right? You see who's like hovering above you, right? This dark cloud that's always over you.
I mean, you could say that about anybody. You could say that.
No.
Dungy. You could say that.
No.
What do you mean? No.
No. None of those other guys are just waiting for the perfect opportunity to come back to the NFL with a Super Bowl ring on their finger. And that is exactly what Sean Payton is doing.
What makes the Chargers a perfect situation?
They have Justin Herbert.
I don't know. I'm not that. I think that's a bit hasty.
And how do you feel about Justin Herbert again, Cam? Tell me one more time how you feel about Justin.
Justin Herbert is nice.
No. Come on now. Don't be being all shy and coy now that we're having the conversation. How you feel about Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert is nice. I mean,
no. How do you feel about Justin Herbert?
I mean, Justin Herbert, like I say, you're happy if you have Justin Herbert. You're very happy.
Okay.
And that's why I don't think
on his show he is given a little bit more credibility to Justin Herbert than he's nice. I think he has him in the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
He is.
Okay. So that's a little bit more than nice.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's not nice.
And
that's not nice. That's Pro Bowler status, right? That's like
absolutely
guy, right.
That's absolutely Pro Bowler status. Yes.
Okay.
He's the top. That's the top 6 quarterbacks in the NFL. Yes.
So when you lose with one of the top 6 quarterbacks in the NFL, and there's this shark named Peyton just lurking around the water, just looking for the right prey.
I'm not. Again, you can say that about
perhaps you're a little bit too close to the situation, Cam, to be objective, and that's fine. That happens sometimes.
Oh boy, here we go. Fans chime in. What is Brandon Staley coaching for his job? Cleveland
every game.
He said for the rest of the season he's coaching
for the rest of the season. If they do not make the playoffs Monday morning, he will not have a job.
Ooh, that's hard. That's harsh. That is really harsh. Speaking of harsh, what do you think about Russell Wilson getting scolded by the Broncos defensive tackle during the loss to the Panthers?
It's terrible to watch that train wreck, but it is derailed, and there is no end in sight, man.
Oof. I mean, he had no response. That was probably more concerning. Is that dude is yelling at you, and you can't?
He realizes that he's lost the team, and they just do not respond to his rhetoric and enthusiasm and optimism. It's rubbing them the wrong way, and with every loss it just gets worse, and there's no wins in sight. Cam,
again, we'll go. I didn't expect it to look this bad. I told you guys before the season started that them and the Raiders are going to be fighting for last place in that division. It's just looked way worse than I anticipated. And I think most people anticipated. As much as I like Russell, I didn't expect him to change the culture of the Broncos. And I just have to say, this is about what I anticipated. Or excuse me, the results are about what I anticipated. I didn't expect Russell to have no-name defensive lineman getting in the face as they lose to the Sam Darnold Panthers.
Yeah.
I mean, gee whiz. I didn't expect that. Josh Jacobs. After what you saw on Sunday, where does he stand among the league's top running backs?
I mean, he's top 7, top 8, Cam. I mean, he's certainly a formidable running back. I don't think that we can put as much credence as people are wanting to put on the stats, given the fact that the Seahawks rushing defense is horrible. So I can't anoint him better than a Dalvin Cook or Henry or Quan or Pollard or some of these other backs that are just wreaking havoc. Even Kenneth Walker III, I think he's a better back, but
You think Kenneth Walker III is a better back than
Jonathan Taylor? Those type of running backs. Wait. No. You said you think Kenneth Walker III is a better running back than who? Than Josh Jacobs. I think that. Yeah.
Who's the buffoon now, Cleveland?
Certainly not me. I mean, Josh Jacobs had a great game against the worst rushing defense in the league.
So you don't want to give credit to Josh Jacobs for 88 or 86-yard walk-off touchdown. He should have found a tunnel. I fault Josh Jacobs for not finding a tunnel to run up in to make his all-time highlight like Bo Jackson. He should have.
Yeah, I gave him top 8. I don't know how much more praise you want for a running back in the NFL at this point. It's pretty high praise.
But you're saying it as if you're giving you're not wanting to give him a lot of credit because he just did what he did against.
What I'm saying is I'm not giving him as much credit as everyone else is because the numbers look so gaudy. The numbers look so gaudy because he was doing that against the worst rush defense in the NFL.
Did somebody else put up 300 yards from scrimmage on the Seahawks this season?
Situations, circumstances were different.
I mean, did somebody else do it though?
I don't have the stats right in front of me. I don't stat people to death, Cam. I don't know.
Oh, so you're not aware that nobody else has done this in the NFL since your guy Adrian Peterson set the all-time rushing record. So you weren't aware of that.
I wasn't aware of that. No.
Yeah, so that alone should tell you that this is something that just doesn't happen every day, regardless of how bad the Seattle.
Okay, well that's cool. That's cool. Well, good for him. Good for Josh.
Whew. I mean, it's fans like you that probably didn't even remember that the Raiders and the Seahawks used to be a bitter division rivalry.
No, I do remember that quite vividly, actually.
Jeez. So you're Sam Darnold. I mean, I think you had Sam Darnold actually winning that game, didn't you?
Yeah, I had the Panthers, yes.
So what was it? You just couldn't wait to see Sam Darnold and to think he's going to turn the Panthers around this season?
No, I just know the Broncos are done.
Yeah, they're cooked. Is it time to show Tyler Heineke some love? I mean, it's time for the NFL to show Tyler some love. I think they're
the Cincinnati draft a quarterback, but he's a nice stopgap.
Wow. But they've been trying to bring in the drafted number one. I think he was in the same draft with your boy Carson, and he's just been on the bench and finally getting a chance to do something. I mean, and he has his team 6-5.
Inspirational story. That's great, Cam. They're still going to draft a quarterback first round.
This season?
Yes, following this season, they're going to draft a quarterback with their first round pick.
So you don't see no way Heineke comes back as a starting quarterback.
Depends on how the draft falls, and if all the quarterbacks are taken, then they'll move on. But otherwise, no.
So Tyler gets no love from Mr. Cleveland. No. He gets no love. Who, you should appreciate a guy like Tyler Heineke and the comeback story he's been, considering your guy starting for your team has a similar story. It's extended a little bit longer.
Quite a bit longer journey. Yeah, and a higher pick as well. So yeah,
but very similar
Hey,
story.
They're both feel good stories, and they're both making the most of their opportunities. Given the opportunity. So great.
So you mentioned earlier Deshaun Jackson helping out the Ravens. He made a big play late in that game. But do you think Deshaun Jackson's production makes you or others believe that Odell Beckham Jr. has anything left to offer a team?
Odell, what he has left in the tank is, completely up in the air. It's a total wild card. I mean, nobody really knows what his health is. Nobody's really brought him in for a physical to see what his body really looks like. He's just ready to get out there and tell people he's ready to play an audition. And, in the back of everybody's mind, they see Odell Beckham, jumping up in the air, making one-handed catches in front of like 5 people. And that's their image of him. Whether he can really actually do that present day, that's hard to say. And then there is always a situation that, you get a bunch of excess baggage and nonsense when you're dealing with Odell. He's always got a attitude problem. If you don't throw him the ball enough, he starts kicking nets and, getting mad and, running around acting belligerent. And, there's been this, new thing where he can't even, get to his auditions without a bunch of drama. And,
come on, man. Who made this report? Who called the authorities on him? Like, was he
dozing in and out of consciousness on an airplane? They said, "Hey, my dude, can you get up?"
Was he sick? Was he asleep?
And then they were worried about his safety. And then finally, the authorities had to come in and pull him off the plane.
Cleveland, if I'm asleep and you come in and try to wake me up, that immediate moment of between actually sleep and wake up. People have gotten off for murder in that moment right there. Because you're just
okay. Well, give your dude the benefit of the doubt all you like. All I'm saying is that if I'm getting on a plane to go have an interview about a position that could potentially pay me $10 to $15 million, I'm just going to be ready to get on the plane and get there, do my thing, and come back. I mean, it's just always something with this dude.
I'm just saying, man. I don't know. There was enough on that reporting to make me raise a eyebrow.
Okay, well, have it your way, Cam. I mean, maybe he was just groggy and dozing in and out. You know,
Yeah,
didn't get much sleep the night before, and maybe it was something more.
It could have been something more. I mean, it could have been something more, but I'm just not rushing to judgment and to say
okay,
that.
well, don't. I'm just saying, like, I would like my receiver to be able to get on a plane and get to the interview without a whole lot of nonsense, without it making worldwide news. And he is unable to do that.
I mean, that might be some of his fame preceding him. So the better win this weekend, the Chargers squeaking by the Cardinals, or the Dolphins routing the Texans?
Oh, the Chargers, yeah, because every win is so precious, so critical.
Was it a better win for the Jaguars beating the Ravens, or was that a worse loss by the Ravens?
That's a worse loss for the Ravens. Come on, man. I mean, how you gonna start that sentence? Come on.
The Packers get embarrassed by the Eagles. I mean, is that even noteworthy?
Not really. That's just where the Packers are right now. Hopefully, they draft a receiver first round next year. And
I guess the most noteworthy thing is Jalen Love. I mean, do you see anything out of Jalen Love to warrant you, moving on from Aaron Rodgers publicly?
You know why I don't, Cam? Because you can't even say his name right.
Jordan Love?
You said Jalen, but that's cool.
No, I meant Jordan Love. What do you think? Did you see enough from him?
No.
Okay, I think to move on from Aaron is going to be a tough thing. It's not. I don't think this is the kind of thing you play with like Flores was playing with Fitzpatrick, where he'll let Fitzpatrick start one week and then he let Tua start the next week. I don't think that's how you break away from Aaron Rodgers. Like, you just got to say, Aaron, you're done, and we're going with Jordan Love. But Aaron, Aaron isn't gonna go quietly. That's going to be probably the issue. I'm so
sorry. Are you talking about the MVP of the league last year? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the MVP.
Okay. Yeah. He's not going to go quietly into that dark night. Yeah.
I mean, the MVP, whose team is 4-8 now.
Okay, that you let his number one receiver and security blanket go.
Again, 4-8 there, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm so sorry. I thought the conversation was whether they were going to just, go with the Jordan Love movement, kind of like the 49ers went with the Trey Lance movement. How'd that work out?
I mean, they kept Jimmy. Luckily, they kept Jimmy.
Yeah.
Luckily,
where would they be had they not made that decision?
Luckily, Jimmy.
Oh.
Luckily, nobody wanted to jump on Jimmy.
Yeah, they wanted a little bit too much for Jimmy G, and yeah, that's why.
So, again, I don't think, even in that situation, I don't think you're going to say we're going with our young starter in Trey Lance, and Aaron Rodgers is going to just say there, okay, I'll hold the clipboard for the foreseeable future. I don't think that's going to happen. The Packers won't have the opportunity to say, okay.
So I'm so sorry. Let's get back to the question. The Packers are not moving on from Aaron Rodgers to start Jordan Love based upon what they saw in the Philadelphia Eagles game in mop-up time. I'm surprised we've wasted this much time on this subject.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, so we will revisit that topic later on in the season. Cleveland, some of the games that we disagreed on this weekend, we talked about Minnesota over the Patriots. Minnesota's just a better team. How you took the Patriots and you want to blame?
Well, I was listening to you too much about all that coaching and stuff, which don't really matter when you got better talent, like you just said, and kind of caved into earlier in the show. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it.
Thought I made this change here. Well, we got Tennessee. Cincinnati actually beat Tennessee. You correct me on that one. I got to make that change on the scoreboard. I'm making that change right now. I thought Tennessee. I had Cincinnati sleeping in this game against their division rivals, the Titans. The Titans actually, I should say, the Bengals actually was able to pull that game out. We had the Jets. We had Washington. I had the Broncos. I had the Broncos beating the Panthers. I mean, it's another further indictment on Russell Wilson that he can't beat Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. I mean, gee whiz. It's just gee whiz. I mean, they got Russell dropping back and try to play like he's Aaron Rodgers offense. And if you want to get the best out of Russell, he needs to be 3-4 wide receivers at all times. Let him move around, and maybe he needs a couple better receiver or two. But gee whiz, the Broncos must be sick about Russell. Does Russell finish the contract with the Broncos? Is this it? This it? You cut bait this year?
I would if I was them. They'll give him one more year and a different coach, but I would.
This season, you would cut bait this season after this season. Say thanks, Russell. It just ain't working out.
It just ain't working out. I'm so sorry. We gave you a bunch of guaranteed money, and we'll just have to swallow that. Oof. This is going nowhere.
And they have billionaires to do that too. Those new owners got a few dollars in their pocket where they could say, "Thank you, Russell, for all that you've been to the Broncos. Let's ride." And they got that money. That's a tough call. I just had the Broncos beating the Carolina Panthers. We talked about you having the Jacksonville over the Baltimore Ravens. Neither one of us had the Raiders over the Seahawks. Neither one of us had that game. I mean, that was again monumental historical performance there. So in this week, our stats this week, I'll read them off to you. How you think you did this week?
I think I did pretty decent. Probably a loss or two in the confidence. Sam Rossine picks. There were some upsets, so maybe not that great.
Yeah, there's upsets every week. So, in the picks, you won 10-12 picks against the spread. You won 1-0. Let me pull this up for the people to see. For auditing purposes here, we're going to show you what we're doing each week, fans, and let you guys see that we can actually defend these picks that we're making. We disagreed on Minnesota, New England, Cincinnati, and the Titans. We both didn't. Neither one of us had Seattle. We both lost on the Colts, having the Colts win. Again, none of my picks against the spread were correct. You got one of them correct. So you won 13-3 this week. I'm disappointed about this number, fans. I need this number to be closer to 70, and you can see I'm off by a lot right there. Picks against the spread, I extend my lead. No big deal. I'm moving up. I'm getting closer to where I want to be. I need that number to be about 70% this season. But again, sheer dominance by me on my part. Sheer dominance. Cleveland, I mean, he's trying. He's trying. We'll give him credit for trying. Fans, we'll do that much. So going into next week, a couple of the games that we disagree on, I got Seattle. I got San Francisco beating up the Dolphins. The Dolphins, there you go, traveling cross country. So you're going against your rule of theory. The Dolphins traveling across country to play the Niners, but you got the Dolphins winning. Why do you got the Dolphins in that game?
Just a more explosive offense. I don't think the 49ers can keep up.
And the 49ers got explosive defense. Their defense and their ability to run the ball, I think, is going to be different. for the Dolphins, and we'll see. And that's going to be a good game to watch among a few among a few other good games. This is definitely a good game to watch this week. We agree with the Bills. We disagree with the Falcons and the Steelers. Okay, I said a couple years ago, maybe was I too soon in saying that Tomlinson was over his skis, and we've seen enough from Tomlinson? You're picking the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Cam, I'm going to put you on hold for 1 sec while you think about what you said about Mike Tomlin. Okay. Put you on hold real quick. Gather your thoughts. I'll be right back.
I don't know what he could be talking about, but he's a Mike Tomlin apologist. And now he has Mike Tomlin losing to the Atlanta Hawks or Atlanta Falcons, excuse me. I don't understand that. We're going to have to get an explanation. You guys deserve an explanation for that. Also, so we're going to talk about the Packers versus the Bears game. That's another one we disagree on why he's going with where he's going with that game. I don't understand the logic there. So that's something that we're going to have to get into. And then here we go, our supremacy ranking for the NFL. Yeah, so fans, what was your biggest takeaway from the what was your biggest takeaway from this week in the NFL? Again, we talked about mine. Again, the biggest takeaway with the Chargers going for it. The Raiders ripping off a comeback win against the Seahawks. That was impressive. What kind of things would impress you this past weekend? And then fans, @_ voice of the fans, where do you have Josh Jacobs ranked in the running back comparisons? Where's Josh Jacobs in your book? Where do you rank Josh Jacobs?
Okay, have you had a chance
coming back
to have a come to Jesus moment when you talk about what you're talking about?
No, what's up, man? We're moving on. What's up? Are you okay?
I'm so sorry. 17 seasons as a head coach, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl championship. How many losing seasons has he had?
I mean, this is going to be his first one, but
so then how can he be over his skis?
I said he was over his skis a couple of years ago, and he hasn't gotten better. He hasn't showed me any growth over the last few seasons. So I haven't seen that team. I haven't seen that team get better over the last 2 years. Have you?
Well, I know that he's established a culture, which is what you're a big, fan of. Coaches coming in and establishing new cultures to try and kind of change the trajectory of the franchise. I think the trajectory of the franchise has pretty much been the same. I mean, it's always about winning Super Bowls over there. And at this point, he's not had a losing season and has made the playoffs. I think 12 of those 17 seasons, maybe even more than that. I mean, you're talking about one of the stalwarts of the league.
So why do you have the
second most tenured coach, as I recall?
So why do you have the Atlanta Falcons beating this guy?
Oh, because they're at home, Cam. And I mean, we're not really sure what There are still some things that need to be flushed out. Most notably, and I'm not trying to be the elephant in the room, but I think that Alabama running back is about spent. So,
are you using Eddie Lacy effect?
Oh, I think it's more a TJ Yeldon effect. I mean, I think it's more like a pretty cool season that one time, and was always going to get a whole bunch of carries because he plays in Pittsburgh. But I mean, what's he really doing with him? Not a lot. So,
I mean, but is it that offensive line? Everybody knows he's the only thing.
Man, they're looking. I'm just saying they're looking. They're not saying it out loud, but they're looking.
Wow. No, that's harsh words.
Yeah.
It's still curious. So, as a coach, you want to get so much praise to is currently 4-7, and you gave the nod to Atlanta Hawks. I mean, that's curious. And you have the Chicago Bears beating Green Bay Packers. I mean, do we know if Fields is playing or not? Like,
we don't. And I went on a hunch he's going to play. If he doesn't play, obviously that changes the dynamics a little bit. But because of when we do the show, I had to make a decision. So I just went with if Fields was playing, and we're questionable about Aaron Rodgers' health, and I was just going to go the other way with that.
So each and every week we do our NFL supremacy rankings. This week, Cleavon, what have the Eagles shown you that makes you believe they're better than the Kansas City Chiefs? That much, huh? Exactly. That's
that
why
much. I mean, it is razor thin. I am saying that the Eagles only lost one game, man. I mean, there's a real good story, but not a lot.
Okay, the eye test. It's not even close. The Kansas City Chiefs have the better quarterback. They have the better coach. They have the better offense. They play just enough defense. What are you talking about? It's razor thin. Like Jalen Hurts, you are the first to say that Jalen Hurts is he's having a great season. We can't put too much stock in the type of season he's having. You're one of the first to say that. But now you're going to have him better than Patrick Mahomes?
I did not say that he was a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. I said in the supremacy rankings at present, the Philadelphia Eagles are slightly ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs, not by a lot.
Stop.
It wouldn't take a lot for me to sway the decision the other way. So let me just go on record as saying if they go and beat Cincinnati, they'll be the number one team.
They have to go and beat Cincinnati for them to be the number one team. That's ridiculous. They're the number one team right now. The Eagles are a close second. The Eagles are good. I mean, I'm not slighting what the Eagles are accomplishing. They're just not better than what the Kansas City Chiefs have shown all season long through 12 weeks of the NFL. Through 12 weeks of the NFL, just because I was guilty of it, and I admitted it. Over the last 4 or 5 weeks, you guys have heard me admit that Tua Tagovailoa is for real. With him starting and finishing games that are still undefeated. Still this year, they're undefeated. So I have that. Again, when you have a great coach who puts players in position to be successful, Mike McDaniel is doing just that in Miami with Tua, the combination of Tua, Waddle, Hill, Gesicki getting in the mix. Now we got Jeff Wilson, a running game. With the combination of putting players in the right position, good things can happen. That's what Mike McDaniel was doing down there in the 305, and have the Dolphins elevated to the best team in the AFC East right now. What are we, 12 weeks through the season? So I have them at number 3. I have Buffalo, a team that they beat, who's showing every bit that they're formidable. They can't give up a game or two. Like, not in the same way the Ravens give up a game. But Buffalo,
really? It's different. It's different when they give it up. It's different when they fumble on the half-yard line. It's different when they give up like ridiculous losses to Miami when they're up by 17 points going into the fourth quarter. How's it different?
How is what different? The way Buffalo loses and the Ravens lose?
Yeah. It's no different, dude. And it also comes down to quarterback play. If we're going to be perfectly honest with you.
I mean, okay, so now you're saying Josh Jacobs is no different than
I'm not saying Josh Allen is no different than Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying
you just said if it comes down to the quarterback, that's what you just said.
Saying no. What I said is that the losses come down to the quarterback, and that they're just susceptible to the same type of losses that the Ravens face, and that's concerning.
The thing that's
because they have way more talent.
Why I would say that is different, it hinges on kind of what the Buffalo Bills have shown over the last couple of years, that they're explosive and they can put up big numbers. You can expect them to come back if they're
But they'll lose
a
games
minute and a
in
half. Yes.
improbable
Yes.
ways that
Yes.
you just can't believe that they
Yes.
lost.
Yeah, and that's why they're number 4. They will lose games, but they're still a good team. I have them at number 4 in my supremacy rankings, followed up with the San Francisco 49ers. I think San Francisco is coming on at the right time. I think they're coming on at the right time. Formidable defense. Quarterback is just good enough. Running, they clearly have a running game. They have a set of receivers that are dangerous, that put fear in you either way. From Ayuk to the tight end, 85. Wow, I'm having a brain fart.
Kittle, Deebo Samuel. They're formidable. And,
they're
of
formidable.
course, Christian, Jackson, McCaffrey running around there. But
they can strike you in a lot of ways.
Seeing their cowbell, a little banged up.
Again, I just think they're the way they do it, running back by committee. I mean, you're not hinged on one player.
But now one of their running backs is down again.
So I have that. That's my top 5. You have Dallas over San Francisco, Buffalo, and Miami, which is interesting. Minnesota at number 4. I think Minnesota showed with that loss to the Cowboys that, I wanted to keep them in there.
Because they came back and backed it up by beating the greatest coach in the history of football, right?
Come on, stop it. So because they beat the Patriots now, you have them in your top 5 because
they bounced back from their loss, I think, fairly nicely.
Okay, that was a good bounce back win, and then you have them ahead of Buffalo. I don't believe that they're better than Buffalo Bills. Again, we talked about Buffalo's propensity to give up a game or two. I don't have them better than the Buffalo Bills.
They went to Orchard Park and beat them, though, right?
They did. I don't have them better than the Buffalo Bills,
even though they beat them in their own park.
Again, yeah, I have more confidence in the Bills going further than them. No. Nonetheless, they did beat them, and so you have Buffalo bringing up your top 5 because you're just shitting on Josh Allen right now today. I don't get it.
It's not me. It's Josh. I'd prefer him continue to be great for those not even flashes of brilliance that he shows us. Like most of the body of work is brilliant until it's not, right?
All right, man. So let's get into some NBA stuff.
Oh,
NBA topics. Mm-hmm. The Timberwolves, they were on a 4-game winning streak until they weren't. Now they look like there's some trouble in paradise with their center, their high-paid free agency. It's just not like France over there. It's not we in the locker room over there. What do you see? What do you see from the Timberwolves? Not only that, but one half of their, Stifle Towers went down with the injury. So Karl Anthony Towns is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with the leg injury. Can they hold on? Will they be a factor in the West moving forward?
It doesn't look like it can. Unfortunately, like you're saying, Gobert was used to a little bit more maturity and structure within, the top to bottom of an organization, which clearly the Timberwolves don't have. Alex Rodriguez, the new owner, is a lot of flash and glitter. He's kind of a pretty boy, so kind of a faceplate. So, just go out there and dunk and run fast. And that's just not a sustainable recipe for winning, playoff basketball. So, although it was a great move to get him, and I see what they were trying to do with that, those other pieces, they're just not, they're not developed, man. I'm hoping Anthony Edwards gets out of there as quickly as is humanly possible.
Oh boy, he said, "Hope he gets out of there." Like, the ship be sinking.
Yeah, ship sinking. I mean, it starts on on false wood when you're talking about Karl Anthony Towns as one of your foundation pieces, and then we have Snitchy Russell over there running the point. I mean, that doesn't help. And then, Gobert has always kind of been a follower. He's not really a leader. And then, he's there to block shots and rebound primarily. So, yeah.
I mean, they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. they're behind Portland and Denver in their division, and Utah, I might add. But yeah, it was interesting to see what that Twin Towers were going to do in this year's NBA. And as of right now, with 20 games in, I wouldn't say it's that effective. Started off well, but we'll see how it finished. Talk about ineffective. How about your Lakers? Were on a little 2-game, 3-game winning streak until they saw the Pacers the other night. You want to describe what happened in that wild finish against the Pacers?
Cam, you bring up individual games. We don't do that, man. It's a whole body of work, man. It's an 82-game season. We don't point out particular games as far as a barometer of what the team's going to be able to do going forward.
Okay,
it's certainly not an NBA. Yeah, that's more of an NFL kind of thing.
Okay, well, you want to talk about the last 10 games then? If you just want to pull out like a sections of the seasons where they're 5-5, they're less than 500 on the season, but the last 10 games they're 5-5, so they're 500. You want to say that's a step up? That's a positive move in that regard? Is that what you're going to tell me?
It is positive where they came from, Cam, and it's a work in progress, and we'll have to see where it goes.
Oh my goodness, this guy, no objectivity at all. No objectivity at all. Is this a golden era of the NBA? Would you say?
No.
Stats would say otherwise, Cleveland. There are 4 players currently averaging 30-plus points a game, shooting over 50% in those games. That hasn't happened in the NBA. They've had one player do that over the last 20 years. 4 players are on that pace right now. Is that what would you say that's a sign of?
Rule changes and them opening up the offensive players to basically be able to waltz to the basket untouched, and ergo the scoring average goes up.
Okay, so the rule changes. Okay, I'm with you. The rule changes have impacted the game. But with one player averaging more than 30 points and shooting 50% in the last 20 years, and we have 4 players doing it this season, is that?
Yeah, most players that do that are post players, and we all know the league is void of post players right
exactly.
now.
Even so, is it more impressive that these are wing players doing this?
Not necessarily, given the rules and given the way the league has
Really?
evolved to a lot of 3-point shooting. I mean,
you still have to shoot.
Weighted.
If you're shooting from a further distance, when you say shooting from a further distance, your shooting percentage should drop.
Your shooting percentage should probably drop, but you're also taking more shots from further away for more points. It's not the same
No.
Post dominance, which is where those other 30-point performances were coming from.
Again, like Cleveland, you're not listening to what I'm saying. It's happened one time that a player has averaged 30 points and 50% shooting. That's happened once.
Who was that?
I mean, come on. We know who that was. We don't have to. You should
Can't say it out loud. I mean, is it a secret?
No. So anybody is. If there's a stat in basketball, it's going to be Wilt. If there's a stat that you're trying to talk about.
No, I'm sorry. You said in the last 30 years, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't Wilt.
That was one person was Mr.
Who was it?
Shaquille.
Oh, okay. The most dominant big man.
Again, so Cleveland, you're not listening to my point.
What is it? What is it I'm missing?
We're talking wing players. We're talking about wing players.
Okay.
Averaging 30 points, shooting 50%. Shaq is able to do that because he's dunking on a lot of guys. If you're doing that from behind the arc or away from the basket, your shooting percentage would drop the further you go. Most cases, it drops the further you get away from the hoop. I would say that that's more impressive having 4 players doing that today than a 1 player doing that years ago.
Okay.
That's what I would say. Rule changes, though, you make a good point. The rule changes have affected the scoring in the game. At that point, I would agree with you. But why was traveling now that they allow to to allow generations of players to travel. Now all of a sudden they're trying to crack down on traveling in the NBA. As an example, they had 10 last night between the Warriors and the Mavericks. There was 10 violations called for traveling and or palming the ball. Why is the NBA now trying to crack down on this?
Perhaps an emphasis because for, decades they just let a little bit too much of this careless basketball go on, and they're trying to bring some more structure back to the game and, really make the players understand that it is still fundamental basketball that you need to be performing out there. It's not all about, the entertainment value.
It's going to be interesting to see if they allow this continue, how they actually clamp down on this more going into the All-Star break. I doubt we'll see a lot of this after the All-Star break, but that's going to be very interesting. Cleveland, what else has caught your eye this season in NBA?
I think one of the things is Portland continues to kind of go about their business, winning some games that I was not anticipating them winning. And I am still waiting for Mark Cuban to do the right thing and make a blockbuster trade to pair someone with Luka Doncic to make a run at it. If he doesn't, then he's just, milking the cow, which is terrible.
Okay, I'm going to ask you two ways. Who do you think is that person? They got Christian Woods. They expected him to kind of be somebody, who do you expect? Who's that person?
Cam, they got to go out and get a dude. They got to go out and get somebody, man.
Kyrie?
Christian Wood is not an answer, man.
Kyrie?
Of course you don't go and trade for Kyrie Irving. Although the Lakers can get Kyrie Irving and still make him, somewhat of a serviceable player.
Only the Lakers. Listen how you say that. Only the Lakers can get him.
Only listen to LeBron. LeBron's the Kyrie whisperer. No one else can talk to him.
Okay.
You know who they need to go get, Cam.
Who? Tell me.
I'll give you a clue. He plays in some city that really was fortunate to even have an NBA franchise, and he's the best player on that team. And their franchise player going forward is hurt and is going to miss the entire season.
Should they get Shea? He's too ball dominant. He's too ball dominant to play with.
He'll be less ball dominant if he plays with Luka.
But will he be as effective? Will he be as effective?
Because Luka won't have to have the ball in his hand all the time. I'm not saying that's the best fit. I'm just saying there has to be someone on that caliber, Cam. Preferably he would like a great wing player with tremendous range, or someone in the middle that can impact like a Giannis, but he's not going to get a Giannis. But he needs another piece. It can't just be him and Spencer Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Christian Wood running around. That's not going anywhere.
I don't.
You have to have another dude, man. And
I like Shea. I like Shea. I just don't like the combination of him and Luka.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. It's not the best fit, but I'm saying someone on like that caliber that's like.
They missed out on a couple of these rookies, but I don't know.
Be bold, trade for Devin Booker, man. Do something like that.
And they're not going. Phoenix ain't going for that again. Are they? Phoenix ain't going for a trade with the Dallas Mavericks again, or excuse me, the Dallas Mavericks aren't going for a trade with Phoenix Suns again. Now they said when they last time they sent somebody over who was on who they weren't sure about, they turned him into a 3-time MVP with the Phoenix Suns. Dallas ain't trading with them again. I would suspect that I think that phone line is cut. That phone line is permanently seared. What would you say?
That was 100% Cuban's decision, and he even came back with the offer sheet and said, "Hey, this is what it looks like." And Mark said no.
Man, this I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I agree with you. They need to make a move. They need to get him some legitimate help. I agree with that. I don't know that Shea is a guy. I like what Shea does. I don't think, and I think I started the season off asking you who trades for Shea first. I think I brought that question up because him staying there, it just doesn't fit. Like, he's ready to win. He's ready to explode tonight. I don't know if they're playing tonight or what they're doing tonight. Let me see, but he's probably exploding.
He's probably already got 26.
Yeah, he's probably already exploding. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know that he doesn't fit their plans. Basically, what I'm saying.
Maybe not Shea, but you understand where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
man.
they need.
Like, it's got to be somebody impactful, like right now.
Yeah,
and you can't wait for those other players to develop. They're not going to develop. They are who they are. You guys are all bummed out that you lost Jalen Brunson. I don't think that he was going to be the difference either. They need like a real, legitimate, other threat.
See, I think Jalen Brunson, a player, I like Brunson. I really like what he can do off the.
See, man, don't dump down the league like that, man. You already know what it takes. It takes two cats, man.
No. But what you're missing about Brunson was he was able to create his own shot, and he was able to make players around him better by helping them get easier shots by being a floor general. That's what Brunson's not. He's not going to be.
So how's that any different than Shea?
I mean, Shea's a superstar.
Okay, but
Shea's essentially a superstar. He's essentially on the level.
So he's a better version of what Jalen Brunson gave him. Because you didn't like the fit.
I don't know that I don't know. He's not a version of Shea, or he's not a version of Brunson. No, he's not.
Okay, well, you know what? Go get Siakam, man. Go from the middle end. If you don't want to give him no wing help, if you don't want to give him nobody that's going to need the basketball, go get Siakam.
Toronto's not giving Siakam up, but that is the type of bold move that they need to do.
Okay, well, somebody.
That's the type of bold move. Now they have Toronto's not giving up Siakam for nothing cheap. But if they were to be coerced, maybe with the cash to be considered, how they make the move.
However you make those deals,
first rounders,
and
cash consideration.
Yep.
Make the cash consideration. Mark can add that line and just say, "Hey, what are you looking for? Do you need a new practice facility? What do you need over there? You need some new uniforms or something? Cash consideration. We'll just leave that open for you. But yeah, let's do 2 firsts and Siakam. If they were able to pull that move off, now you have that low post guy who can command attention, and you have Luka able to command his attention, obviously, and would Luka then be able to kick it into Siakam? Would he actually do that? Is something we haven't seen. That's not saying he can't do it. It's just something we haven't seen Luka continuously. He has Christian Woods get assists.
Christian Wood, that's some legitimate.
I'm just saying, use the talent that you have, though. This is the point I'm making. Use the talent that you have,
and that's what I'm saying. You see what the talent that you have around you is, and that's not enough to do anything. So you have to go and get more talent. Because if you're just trying to use the talent around you, you will lose in the second round again.
Well, again,
I'm so sorry. They got to the Western Conference Finals last year because everyone else fell down and was hurt. So that's not going to happen again.
They also that helped them get to the first round. They had a guy like Brunson who can control the offense enough to utilize the other guys.
Damn, if you name Brunson and Christian Woods in this on a championship contending team again, man, you're going to get kicked off this show.
You just said they were in the Western Conference Finals. You just said that yourself. They were in the Western Conference Finals last year.
What did I say before that? All the rest of the teams fell down with the bubonic plague and didn't have key players going forward. That's how they got there.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You be with Cuban and just keep wasting Doncic years 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 trying to make Christian Wood and Dinwiddie work.
I'm agreeing with you. They need to do something with somebody. What I'm telling you, last couple seasons, Brunson made his career off of making these other guys better. It's the point I'm trying to make to you. Brunson got a fat salary from the New York Knicks because he was able to average 17 points and 8 assists. That's what he was able to do. That's helped them. That actually helped them get to the NBA Finals, because then Luka could sit down and put the ball in Brunson's hand and let him go to work. That's all I'm telling you. I'm not telling you Brunson is a NBA All-Star MVP. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you he was able to do certain things that allowed the other guys to flourish. And when I say that, I'm saying that we haven't seen Luka do that. Luka is great alone by himself, but we haven't seen him make the other guys better. And Charles Barkley alluded that to the other night as well, a couple weeks ago, but then reinforced it the other night, is Luka gets his numbers. Nobody can stop him in the league. We've seen that now for 2 years. Nobody can stop Luka. However, Luka, can you use these other guys to make the team better? That's the next move for him. Have we seen that? You can answer that question. We haven't seen that.
He's made them better. He's made them as good as they're going to get, and this is that. So can he make a really good player great? Yeah. Can he make good players great? No. He doesn't have that ability. He's not Magic Johnson. He's not orchestrating the offense in that same way. He needs to do his thing, but yeah, he needs another superstar, and none of the aforementioned people that you named are superstars. They're not even all-stars, Cam.
Brunson might be an all-star this year. But
oh, for real? In the East? That's cool.
He might be an all-star.
I mean, he might be, which is goes to tell you what's going on in the East.
Oh, we already knew that, though. We already knew that. We already knew what the East is.
Jalen Brunson. Okay.
I mean, is he a top 6 guard in the East?
No.
Not top 6?
No.
I'm sorry. Help me out with 6 guards that are better than Jalen Brunson right now.
In the Eastern Conference?
Yeah.
Are we just talking shooting guard or just guard in general?
Guards. I mean, it's going to be guard position.
Okay. So we'll start with your starting backcourt of
dude from Cleveland.
DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. Is he better than either one of those guys?
No, he's not.
Okay. Is he better than Kyrie Irving? Is he better than Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart?
Those are forwards, aren't they?
No, that's the starting backcourt for the Boston Celtics. We just went over this because we said that backcourt was better than the Hawks. So that's 5 guards I've named already, and I haven't really even gotten started. But we can keep going.
Sexton is the next guy.
Is he better than Zach LaVine?
Sexton is exactly. He's on the same. Zach LaVine's not going to be there. Sexton is the guy who's going to make it out of the 6 guys you named. Sexton is
he better than Donovan Mitchell?
I don't think Donovan. Okay, I know. We're moving
is he better
right
than
along.
Bradley Beal?
Moving right along.
Yeah. Okay. Woo! That list caught fire like that, didn't it?
Moving right
Damn, there are some guards in the East.
Moving right along.
Kind of burn that whole argument down to the ground, but we can keep going. I like this NBA stuff.
We're going to get back to the NBA stuff. Let's jump into this week in history, and we're going to come back around to it. This week in history, the Caribbean island nation of Barbados become independent from the United Kingdom back in 1966 on this day, 1966. Wow. Michael Jordan on 11/22 announced that he would retire for a 3rd time and the final time at the end of the season with the Washington Wizards. This is 2002. Mm-hmm. The Los Angeles Dodgers trade Frank Robinson to California Angels back in 1972. 1972, 11/28. And Jackie Robinson accuses the New York Yankees of racial bias on national TV back in 1952. I missed that whole thing. And 2015, November 30th, the late great Kobe Bryant announced his intention to retire at the end of the season. That's right before Utah, opened up the. I think they still have escorts to the basket against the Lakers when Kobe put up 60 points on there. 60 points. Did he have 50 shots when he scored 60 points on his last game?
Oh man, I think he's much more efficient than that. Really.
You think?
Yeah.
What do you think about the USA moving on to round 16 in the World Cup? I mean, were you locked into USA versus Iran?
I mean, wasn't locked in, but hey, that's great. Good win, you guys. Keep
how far can they go?
I think this is about as far as they're gonna go.
This is it.
Yeah, I think they come to the end of the road.
Wow. Mexico was eliminated from the World Cup group stage for the first time since 1978. First time since your lifetime, Mexico has been eliminated from the group stage. What's your thoughts on Mexico? Any thoughts on that?
Man, they better regroup and hope some of those cartel cats weren't backing some of these dudes. That what happened with the two Escobars, right?
You know what happened. Okay. You better hope they didn't have. They
take their soccer real serious over there. So hey,
Oh boy. The Kraken win a 9-8 game in the NHL. I think this might have been the most points scored ever in the NHL. 17-point game. Were you dialed in? What's your thoughts? Have you been to a Kraken game yet? It's been.
I have been to a Kraken game. It is a great experience.
Okay, what's the traffic like? Talk to us about you complaining about the traffic getting in and out of the stadium. What was the traffic like? Give us a breakdown.
I was, and for that reason, I took the light transit, and got to the what do they call it now? Got to the monorail and then took the monorail into to the stadium. So I bypassed all that.
Oh, so that worked for you? That worked with your.
I'm one of the few people that can take advantage of some of the, rapid transit conveniencies, but
that sounds like an hour and 15-minute commute.
No, it was like 40 minutes
from Renton to the stadium.
Yeah, I got on the light rail. The light rail takes 35 minutes to get to the monorail station, and then like 5 minutes to get to the arena.
Wow. So you had no complaints.
The way I'm able to do it, yeah, no, I have no complaints about it.
But okay, why can't 20 other thousand people follow suit?
Because they don't live in the same, geographic proximity that I live to the rail.
But you can do park and ride to the rail, can't you? Are there park and ride spaces?
There's none.
There's
zero.
Along the route of the light rail, you can't.
The only place there, Northgate has park and ride.
I mean, I can think off the top of my head, Othello has a grocery store. I can park right at the grocery store.
Okay.
No? They're not allowing that?
No. They don't even allow parking. As a commercial real estate broker, I had a client that wanted to build a parking structure across the street from one of the light rail stations, and it was forbidden.
What?
Yeah.
Where were you trying to build this at? Where were you guys trying to build this at?
Right across the street from Holly Park.
A train? Oh no. A train? You're trying a parking garage?
Not a garage, just a lot that had I think 3 levels.
Yeah, that's a garage.
I mean, not really a garage per se, but yeah, no. Even the lot without the added structure.
What was the reasoning? That's interesting. What is the reasoning?
Can't say for sure, other than to say that that's not what they're trying to encourage, which I don't understand, because other places with rapid transit, that's what they're doing. But no, it's just a movement to have less cars, less traffic, which you would think would mean that you would build more structures where people can drive to and then not have to drive on the road. But that's just not how it works there, unfortunately.
Maybe you should have tried that off of went down the road to Henderson a little bit.
That's the stop I get on, the Rainier Beach stop, right over there by the fruit stand, a little bit further.
I'm saying the parking garage, the parking structure theory.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this was years ago. I mean, but I like I said, I've ridden the light rail from as far as the airport all the way through, and there's no place to other than the airport.
Yeah,
right?
other than the airport. That's bananas. That's crazy. That's crazy to think.
The airport and Northgate. So there's like 15 stops in between there. There's no place to park and go.
So they're towing if I park at the grocery store on Othello and walk to the
I don't know. I've never like parked at the grocery store just as, just to do the experiment. I just park on the street and go. But like you're saying, there's no like,
I mean, that's
structure for like 500 cars to come and park and then go somewhere. Yeah. No.
Wow. That's. I mean, we're on to a different topic, but that's crazy. But you enjoyed the Kraken game nonetheless that you went to?
I did. And, obviously, hockey, for me is one of those things where like, I know like the really prominent, names for each team and kind of, why you're good. But it's obviously kind of a learning curve to get into like, what makes your team good and, kind of.
Yeah. Hockey's a great sport to watch. So it's a great sport to watch.
Yeah, it is. And it's really fast and it's a lot of fun. And it's like, it's constant action. So that part of it is cool. And, once you kind of get into it a little bit, it's easy to kind of, stay focused on it.
So yeah, the 9-8 game was crazy. So congratulations for the Kraken for actually pulling the win out. The NCAA playoffs or the seeding was just recently announced. Michigan pounds OSU. What's your thoughts on that one? And then, are you surprised USC rose to number 4 in the rankings?
Really surprised that SC got all the way to 4. Pretty surprised that Michigan went to Ohio State and put it on them like they did. But of course, Michigan and SC still have to win their conference games to continue to stay in the conversation. I think Georgia would still get in with a loss.
SC plays Utah. Who does Michigan play? They don't have to play Ohio State again, right?
They play Purdue.
For the Big Ten championship or is it the Big 10, Big 12? What is it? Is it just big? What is it?
No, it's the Big 10.
Should there be 8 or 12 teams in the playoffs?
8.
You don't like the playoff format?
I mean, you can let a bunch of teams in. I think that college football is one of those things that there's a lot of posturing once you get past like 6 or 7, and you're just kind of like, on any given Sunday kind of a prayer. But 1 versus 12 is a mopping in college football. By the time you really get to like the bowl
does
games,
1 and 2 maybe should have a bye. The 1 and 2 should have a bye in their brackets. So they're really on.
I'm almost okay with 1 through 4 having a bye, and then 5 through 12 fight it out to see who wants to come up here, man.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that either. I think the better team should have the easier path. I would agree with that. And playing less games is the easier path. Because as you state, in college, it could be any given Sunday. Are you ready for college hoops? We got college hoops on now. They're the only thing on TV right now. Are you ready for college hoops?
I've been seeing a little bit. I think the only player that I really kind of have been gravitating toward is is my man from what is it, Purdue? The dude that's like 7'4".
I haven't seen a lot of it. I know right now.
Yeah, I like him.
Indiana's about to upset Carolina, who Carolina started off at number one.
Number one is about to be their
and then
third
they fall
loss.
to 18.
Yeah.
So
third loss in 10 games. Yeah. Okay.
So they're about to be out of the
Right,
rankings.
top 25, and
A
Hubert
week
Davis
in-
looking
a
around
week
like,
into the
what
season.
happened here?
I mean, so I believe the college rankings are a joke. I mean, we shouldn't see college rankings until.
But there's enough time in college basketball for it to like recalibrate itself. Whereas there's a lot of like where you're at like when you lose your game in college football. There's not really a lot of that in.
Well, that's true too. Yeah,
It starts out like, okay, you were way overrated, but like if you really weren't, like by February you've gotten back to
where
we actually are that good.
Yeah. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. We know about the Brittany Griner situation. She's been moved to the Russian camp, and we'd like to see your president kind of do something actually to get her to come home. But is that a fair trade that they're asking for? Is she just a political pawn? At this point, it's a tough situation. But we thinking about you, Brittany. Sure enough, all alone in the Voice of the Fans fantasy football league. Sure enough, still, I think this is the fourth week in a row, all alone in first place. I mean, pretty much got the season sewn up. Pretty much
for sure.
But who are your fantasy players on the watch list, man? It's now you can't make any more trades. You can still pick up some players. But who's on your fantasy football watch list?
Watch list. I would have to say if Pacheco running the ball over there at Kansas City isn't on your squad, that's a possible.
Yeah.
Christian Watson wasn't on your squad, that's possible.
Yeah, see, you went out and picked him up.
Did I?
I saw you went out and picked him up. Oh, did I? Did I pick him up? Now you don't want to admit it. He's trying to play coy over there, fans. He's trying to play coy over there, fans. Like this season don't mean nothing to him.
If you haven't picked up Dante Foreman from Carolina to this point, for sure.
I got him stashed. I got him stashed
away. Got him stashed somewhere?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. I got him stashed.
Who else is kind of starting to come around? I mean, if you were patient enough to wait for Deshaun Watson, we'll see what he can do for you.
I didn't draft Deshaun, but I was patient enough to wait in another league on the receiver for Arizona.
You were patient enough to wait on DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, he's going to start to cash in.
He cashed in. He cashed in immediately. He was immediately cash child. What do you say? Your boy Gabe, are you riding with Gabe? Is he going to be a difference maker going down the end of the season?
I like Gabe for his explosiveness, but what I have seen from Gabe is that he's good in shootouts, man. He's good if you're in, outside the OK corral, just letting him go. But like for regular games, he's kind of not really that guy. So I guess feast or famine, I guess, is what I would be saying with him.
I got a decision to make on Claypool. I've been trying to stash him. I've been trying to wait on this flower to bloom. And I don't know if I'm putting it in the right spot in the right sunlight. You know what I'm saying? It ain't quite blossoming like I expected it to blossom.
Be hard to blossom in that offense with this structure at present. I think that, that's something that's going to be a late bloomer, if you will. It's not going to bloom this season.
Maybe it takes an off season. Like you say, Foreman's been solid. Thielen, I drafted him just to kind of back up somebody, and he's ended up fighting it out. I've been disappointed with Tyler Lockett. He was a high draft pick for me. I think he was a second or third receiver, and I've been disappointed by him. And it's been him and Thielen each week. Like, do I play him? Do I not? Do I play him? Do I not? I've been disappointed by Lockett. Yeah, so that's my fantasy. I mean, I'm still my team is so solid though that I am really, it's when you got Patrick Mahomes lead and Austin Eckler and Nick Chubb leading your team. I mean, I just had to go pick up a tight end. Decided to go with Everett, the Chargers tight end this week. I mean, I don't know how you spell solid in any other way when you start with Patrick Mahomes and what he's doing each and every week. So that's my squad. Cleveland, you want to talk about your team? How's your team looking? Oh, you're number 2 in the league. You're number 2. Joe Burrow, Najee Harris. I mean, I try to get the Walker 3 on my team. I try to offer you some players. I mean, you could have upgraded from Gabe Davis. You could have upgraded from Lazard. You could have upgraded from Pickens. I tried to give you your guy Lockett. You wasn't interested.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lockett for Walker, I thought that was a fair trade.
I know. I know what your definition of fair trade is, Cam. It's well documented.
I mean, I thought that was fair. I thought that was a fair trade.
Yeah. I noticed you kind of left somebody out with all those other stalwart superstars you were talking about on your team.
Who did I leave out?
Care to mention it, or?
I mean, I don't know who you talking about.
Still not okay with talking about it in public, or?
I mean, who are you talking about? Foreman. I got Foreman. I got Edwards. You know, when I need a running back, I got Mostert. Who, I mean, he's questionable whether he's going to be healthy this week or he's going to play this week. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, my team. I mean, my team.
Yeah, your silence is deafening, Cam.
My team.
It's deafening.
It's solid. But you're at number 2, man. That's a pretty good season out of you. You got some quality players. You went and got Watson. I see that. Lazard. You're thinking somebody got to produce out of those guys. But I try to upgrade your receiving core. I try to help you with that. And
well, thanks for doing that because you upgraded your receiving core quite nicely a couple weeks ago. So,
I mean, again, I try to help you. I came to you first, actually. You're the first person I came to try to make a move. But enough about fantasy football, fans. We got a new segment here. Not a new segment. We're bringing back a segment called Stump Cleveland. Today, this is let me make it easy for you. Open up your NBA book.
Okay.
Luka, who I think is going to be this year's MVP, got his 5th 50-point triple-double, breaking the tie he had with Wilt Chamberlain for number 2. Who was number 1? With 40-point triple-double. Who's number 1?
With what? 50-point triple-doubles?
40-point triple-doubles.
So who has the most 40-point triple-doubles?
Yeah.
Larry Bird has the most 40-point triple-doubles.
Come on. Who has the most triple-doubles?
Does Russell Westbrook have the most 40-point triple-doubles?
No. Who has the most triple-doubles? Okay, Westbrook has the most triple-doubles.
Oscar Robertson has the second most.
Okay. So who would then have the most 40-point triple-doubles?
I'm going to go with Russ.
Oscar Robertson has the most 40-point triple-doubles at 19. Kevin Durant had his 351st 30-point game. He moved to 8th most in NBA history. Who did he pass?
Who did he pass for the 8th most 30-point games?
I'm about to get the Jeopardy.
Pass
card.
Carmelo Anthony, didn't he?
Oh, stop it.
Pass Carmelo?
Carmelo probably didn't have 351st career 30-point game. Carmelo probably not in the top 20 in that list. Stop it.
He surpassed LeBron James, Cam.
35-point game on 50% shooting. So again, what are you talking? 35-point games on 50% shooting. There's been 23 games this season of those. And kind of just to tail off of what we talked about earlier. There's 23 games where a player scored 35 points on 50% shooting. That hasn't happened, Cleavon. That hasn't happened before.
Right, but Cam,
to answer your question, who'd you give me? Carmelo and who?
LeBron James.
I don't know where either of them stand actually on this list, but Kevin Durant passed Jerry West for eighth most.
Okay.
Zion scored 23 points in his 100th game, 100th career game. His 2,524 points are the most by any player through 100 games since this player scored 2,700 points. Who was that player?
His 2,500 is the most since this player scored 2,700. Let's see here. Since Luka Doncic.
Has Lucas played 100 games?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah, he's certainly played 100 games. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. That's a stupid question. No, Luka's not the answer. I'll give you one more try.
Since Ja Morant.
No. Neither of those players are on this guy's level.
Repeat the question, man. The stat sounds misleading, man.
Zion Williamson scored 23 points in his 100th game.
Okay.
His 2,500 points are the most by a player through 100 games since this player scored 2,721 points.
Through 100 games.
Mm-hmm. His first 100 games, obviously.
Kevin Durant.
Michael Jordan is the answer to that question.
That's a weird. That doesn't even make any sense.
What do you mean?
The question just come on.
Zion scored in his 100th through 100 games. Zion scored 2,500 points. That's the most points scored through 100 games since Michael Jordan scored 2,700 points. I don't understand what what do you mean? How it doesn't make sense? So maybe this will make sense to you. Maybe this is one that makes sense to you, and for obvious reasons. Ivica Zubac, the Clippers' Ivica Zubac, superstar center, went 31-29 the other night. First player with 30 points and 25 rebounds on 80% shooting since who?
Since the Diesel.
What year?
Diesel in 2000.
2004.
Oh.
30. He was 30 and 20, 31 and 29 They called a cheap foul on him and fouled him out. He was one rebound away from being the first ever Clipper to get 30 and 30.
Oh, the first Clipper, that would have been cute.
30 and 30, though. But yeah, Diesel. So you got 1 out of 4, Cleveland. Maybe you can do better next week. I got a quote, fans. We're going to leave you with this quote this week. My motto was always to keep swinging. Whether I was in a slump or feeling badly or having trouble off the field, the only thing to do was keep swinging. Hammer and Hank Aaron said that. And I mean, this can be transposed to a lot of situations. My motto was always to keep swinging. Whether I was in a slump, feeling badly, or having trouble off the field, the only thing to do was keep swinging. Hammer and Hank. So I'd love to end the show with the quote, fans. I want to thank you guys for your time or joining the show. Cleveland, thank you for your participation in the show. Hopefully you study up and get better with these trivia questions next time around. Fans, thank you for chiming in. Those of you chiming in on the chat, we appreciate it. Cleveland, let the people know where they can find you.
At Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Cleveland Still on Instagram.
You can always find me at @_Voice of the Fans. You can tweet the show at _Voice of the Fans with your comments, suggestions, or complaints. Also, you could at What's Good in Sports. That's at _Voice of the Fans for the podcast at What's Good in Sports. You can contact me. Cleveland, thank you for your time. And fans, we will see you next week. As always, thank you for making our voice your choice. All right, Chief. I'll let you soon, man.
All right. Talk soon, man.